Joining us now is former law clerk to Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, founder of the Article 3 Project, Mike Davis. Mike, welcome back to National Report. Thanks for coming on today. Before we get to the outcome of Roe v. Wade and the decision on Friday, can I ask you about the one we got this morning, having to do with the praying coach, Coach Kennedy, who wanted to pray after the football games. The school did not sign back with him. That's Susan Collins' statement. We're going to get to that in just a bit. But did you have any top-line thoughts? I believe it was Gorsuch who wrote the majority opinion there.
Justice Gorsuch wrote the majority opinion and ruled that the school district violated the coach's First Amendment rights under the Free Exercise Clause when they fired him, punished him for praying at a football game. He has First Amendment rights. He wasn't pressuring his players to play with him, and he doesn't lose his free exercise rights just because he's a high school football coach.
Right. So that was a big case we were watching that had to do with religious freedoms, First Amendment rights, free speech, free exercise rights, which is an interesting one. Of course, another one that got a lot of nationwide attention was the one we started with, Dobbs v. Jackson, essentially abortion access across the country. It now heads back to the states. Mike, when we spoke last time, we were talking about the protests that we'd seen outside of the justices' homes. We have continued to see protests following the decision. What's your response to that?
I would make 2 points. These protesters now should take their illegal obstruction of justice campaigns and actually go protest where they belong at state legislatures, because state legislatures under our Constitution decides abortion regulations, not unelected, lifetime appointed, pay-protected federal judges in Washington, D.C. Roe was the most anti-democratic case possible, and the Supreme Court corrected a grievous wrong by overturning Roe versus Wade from 49 years ago and returning abortion regulations to the states. And number 2, the Attorney General Merrick Garland is a disgrace. He is completely fallen down on the job by not enforcing 18 U.S.C. 1507 federal obstruction of justice to threaten and intimidate federal judges in their homes over a pending case. We saw in 2020 that Judge Esther Salas, an Obama-appointed federal district court judge in New Jersey, had her 20-year-old son, Daniel, killed and her husband, Mark, seriously wounded under similar circumstances where people were doxing her at her home. The Attorney General needs to step up, and House Republicans, when we take back power in January, need to impeach Attorney General Merrick Garland. His inaction has encouraged these illegal intimidation campaigns, and it's led to an assassination attempt of Justice Kavanaugh, his wife, and their 2 young daughters in their homes in the middle of the night.
We didn't know the exact outcome of the case, but we got a preview of it from that leaked draft opinion, and it turned out that was pretty accurate to what the final version would be. If you lined up the text, you might notice some differences, but the overall outcome was the same, right? That Roe v. Wade would be overturned. What's interesting is Republican Senator from Maine, Susan Collins, has her own reaction to the Supreme Court decision. She says this: the Supreme Court has abandoned a 50-year precedent at a time that the country is desperate for stability. This decision is inconsistent with what Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh said in their testimony and their meetings with me, where they both were insistent on the importance of supporting longstanding precedents that the country has relied upon. Essentially, paraphrasing here, saying that Gorsuch and Kavanaugh misled her when they were meeting in private before the vote of Senate confirmation. What do you think about that?
So I led Justice Gorsuch's confirmation effort as his law clerk from the outside. I was the staff leader in the Senate for Justice Kavanaugh's confirmation. Susan Collins didn't do her homework here. She doesn't understand the law of precedent. And under the law of precedent, judicial nominees, judges have to look at precedent to determine whether the precedent was correctly decided and then the consequences of that precedent. These 2 judicial nominees never made any promise to her that would violate the judicial canons. It is illegal for judicial nominees to trade their votes on future cases for a senator's confirmation vote. Imagine if you were one of these parties before the court today and you found out the facts and law don't matter, that these judges traded their votes for a confirmation vote years prior. That's just not how we work. We're not a third world banana republic. And I think Susan Collins needs to be more careful with her words here. We're seeing these assassination attempts of Supreme Court justices. She needs to cool her rhetoric.
And we've also seen pro-abortion groups who've published the home addresses of justices and their own plans to protest outside their homes. Keep in mind, of course, Amy Coney Barrett, she's got young kids. Justice Kavanaugh has 2 daughters as well who live at home. Let me ask you, though, about the leaker. Do we have an update on to where the leaked draft opinion actually came from? And does that really impact Supreme Court sessions going forward?
So I have had 0 discussions with any justice, any law clerk since this leak happened, intentionally, because I don't want to get dragged into this investigation. But I will tell you, they'll find out who leaked this thing. It's presumably one of the 12 clerks for the 3 liberal justices. It shouldn't be hard to figure this out. And I understand from media reporting there's an active, aggressive investigation. This is obstruction of justice, whoever did this. They're clearly trying to intimidate Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Barrett, one of the Republican-appointed justices, to switch their vote. Whoever did this needs to be their Supreme Court clerkship, rescind it, lose their $450,000 clerkship bonus, whatever firm they're going to, disbarred and referred to the Justice Department for prosecution.
Wow, really interesting. We're hoping to get some answers on it, just so we have this story settled. Mike Davis joining us with his take on it. Mike, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.